This morning is Story Sunday, and I'm going to just do a quick little handoff here because this is really Jesse's show. I just get to be the cool guy up here with him, but I'm going to just say a couple quick words because I don't usually get to be part of the Story Sundays at this setting, but Jesse's a good friend, and so I'm going to do my best to not laugh too hard or get us off track too much, but Jesse's been a good friend for about 7 years now, and so thankful for his willingness. I think it's been 7. I think it has. 2016 you guys came over? Yeah. So we're looking at 7 years, and so it's been fun to get to talk to him about his story a little bit because there are a lot of things that I didn't even know. And so this morning, this will be an opportunity for you to get to know Jesse Nicodemus a little bit further. But so we're going to try to just kind of walk through his story a little bit and let him talk. And so that's how I'm going to kind of kick this off, Jesse. You get to start us and share a little bit about us to get off the ground here. So, yeah. Make sure we got your mic on. Yeah, perfect.
All right. Well, I moved here 7 years ago from the east side of the state, right? Yeah. Born in Southfield at Providence Hospital in December 4th of 1981. And, and we moved to Dexter, where I grew up most of my formative years. All through high school. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. And then I got, obviously, my mom and dad came today. Yeah, wave to the family.
Glad to have you with me.
That's Tom and Bridget, my wife Jen, and Dorothy. Eleanor is somewhere.
Got the fam.
Yeah, my brother Kyle's in Midland right now. He moved over there.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, it's good to get a little idea of your family. Boy, I'm not doing what I would holler at people. Microphone etiquette. So talk just a little bit. Growing up, how old is your brother? What does that birth order and pecking order look like in your house?
I'm older.
Yeah.
He's a year and a half younger than me. But I don't even know. Am I 42?
You are.
I don't know.
Yes. You're 41.
Yeah. 41,
Yeah.
42. Whatever.
Yes. Yeah. So talk a little bit, Jesse, just because it is nice to, I think it's helpful, especially so many of our people have grown up in this area, in this church, so they don't have the context a little bit. What were some of the highlights from your younger years growing up? What was the dynamic in your house? Like, mom and dad working, not working, what was going on? Just different things from your childhood, even a little.
Nice. Thanks for keeping me on track. Well, when we were little, Kyle and I stayed home with Mom. Dad worked for Otis Elevator. He was an elevator mechanic. He was awesome. Looked up to it a lot. And then Mom stayed home. When we went to school, she started working for the schools as a paraprofessional. And, yeah, it's pretty good. We had a normal family.
Yep.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Yep.
I was always trying to get things, being manipulative, just like every kid is.
Yeah.
Right, Don?
Yeah, that we seem to come prepared for that, don't we? We know how to angle things and get what we'd like. So it's nice to you got to have a mom right at your side then for those really formative young years, which is always nice. I'm sure Mom enjoyed that too and wouldn't take that back. So I know when we talked before a little bit, we discussed because you end up in a church. People want to know, did you have that upbringing at all? And it sounded like at some point when you were a little younger, you guys were attending a church, and you even have a nice coat on today. And I know there's a story.
Nice. We started going second or third grade. Did Dexter Gospel or whatever, and I had my navy blue corduroy sport coat, and Kyle had his red corduroy sport coat that we loved. And that's where we got our start. And then we pretty much consistently went through church pretty much all through high school. Started going in Brighton to the Church of the Nazarene in Brighton. That was a good place. I went through the youth group there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesse said he would not sing for us, but it sounded like when he was growing up, he was involved in children's church, is what we call Promised Land now, and even had a lead role in a Christmas program at one point in his upbringing.
Yeah.
He was trying not to brag about himself here, but sounds like he did hum a few bars for me when we talked about this a little bit.
I got a little goofy.
But yeah, so generally speaking, we know that we're leaving out all the really fun details of coming of age there, but you clearly had a pretty stable, good environment growing up, parents that loved and cared about you and your brother, even if you maybe fought a little with him over the years, and it was a good upbringing.
Yeah, so it's a really good normal household. We all loved each other.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So as your story keeps moving a little bit, would you just share a little bit more about your now teen years, getting into early college years? We're giving everyone the slow sell until some of the really big details. So, but share a little bit about your teen years and moving towards your college age, because a lot of things start kind of coming together for you.
Well, in school, I was a normal student. I did pretty good. I never really had to listen or pay attention in class, because I already knew all the answers. And
Fair.
But in high school, it started getting harder. So when I got my driver's license, I pretty much said screw school and hung out with my friends, and grades kind of went down. So yeah, and then didn't really understand why. Didn't connect the dots there, but I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think in some of that, just we get that sweet taste of freedom, don't we, with the driver's license, and just being able to kind of blow off school even more so, spending time with buddies and doing everything else, that you're just not taking it overly serious.
I didn't take school seriously like I should have.
Yeah. And so how'd that work with heading into college years? So from the end of your high school?
I did so awesome in college.
Yeah.
The second time.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to Eastern Michigan University right out of high school, and I stayed on campus, 4th floor. It was the smoking floor. I used to do that. But anyways, it was the cool floor, and I didn't make it out. After the first semester, they're like, Jesse, you should straighten out. You should get better grades, or else we're not going to have you here anymore. Then after the next semester, I didn't learn my lesson, and they sent me a letter saying, it'd probably be better if you didn't come back next year. So I was dismissed from college my first year, and I love telling people that. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that for anyone who's gone through what we'd call like academic probation, it's funny how I think universities are trying to give you an opportunity to, hey, get these things squared around. But sometimes when you're 19, you just don't really believe it.
I even had to take special classes, like the PASS program, to succeed. I passed those classes because I had to. Yeah. The other ones I didn't go to, though.
Yeah. No, that's a challenge. And then something pretty remarkable, and not in a great way, happened to you sometime in that time frame that, do you want to share about?
Yeah. We're back up a little. It was in high school, my senior year of high school. I was going to teach my buddy how to drive my awesome 1988 Plymouth Sundance. Ooh. Yeah, I got it right out of school. I was going to teach him how to drive a stick shift. But then had to go to work to get my paycheck to put gas in the tank. And then went in to get my paycheck. They're like, we're too busy. We can't give you your paycheck. And I was like, okay, I'll bag groceries. Go get my paycheck. So once I got my paycheck, we went outside. It was a strip mall with, I was parked in the fire lane, obviously, because I was only going to run in and get my money and run out. It seemed like it was a half hour. And then when I went outside, it was green outside, and I was struck by lightning. So there was a nurse that happened to be in the store. So she gave me CPR, resuscitated me, and that was interesting.
No doubt. Yeah. Yes, so you can't just say interesting, I got struck by lightning and I was resuscitated. So talk a little bit about that So what happened to you physically? I know that painful, all those things. Like where'd that go from there? My goodness, that's a big.
Well, I had burns all over my body, half my face, my whole chest. I only had like 7 chest hairs. I don't know if that's because of the burns or not though. And then I have scars on my arms, and then on my toe, on this knuckle here, I have a quarter-sized scar where it came out.
Wow.
Yeah. So then I had to sit in the bathtub every day, and I had to scrub the dead burned skin off my body. It was pretty rough. And I would take Vicodin, because to help with the pain. One wouldn't work, and then pretty soon 2 wouldn't work. I probably got to 2 or 3, and then my mom pulled it away from me, and I was upset because I was probably a little bit addicted to it. I was mad, but yeah, that was an issue for me probably.
Yeah, I think that we can't imagine the burns from that, and anyone who's been around a burn victim in general, just awful. So I'm sure that recovery was. You kind of gloss over it because it's just now it's so far in the past, but I'm sure that was painful.
I had to wear like a leotard for a year and a half. It's called a pressure garment to keep the scar tissue down flat.
Yeah.
So it zipped up. I had to wash it a lot, and I only had 1, so it's kind of.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to make sure we mentioned that because as Floyd has tried to convince everybody, you have not been hit by lightning or struck by lightning twice. No, it's just once.
Nope,
just once.
One time.
It's a little bit of an inside joke for those who've experienced that, trying to confuse poor Jesse. But so to get back on with the story, so this happens. You go to Eastern. You do a year there, but it doesn't go well. They politely, which I'm sure that letter was not, you shouldn't come back, but I like the way
I don't think shouldn't.
Yeah, that wasn't in there. But anyway, so Eastern says, nope, you're done. Sorry. So from there, where you end up? Back home for a little while and trying to figure out what's next?
Yeah, I moved home, and then I kind of moved into some apartments with my friends for a year here or there.
Yep.
Why you got kicked out though? Why were you going to class?
Yes. Why weren't Jen, this is nice. It's nice having Jen up here in the front. What was going on that was, so obviously just not doing school, maybe not taking it super serious.
Yeah.
And then, what is going on in your world that was causing that? This is coming from your wife, by the way, so I'm going to just...
A lot of alcohol, a lot. And then also a lot of cigarettes and illicit substances. Is that appropriate?
Yes, that was very appropriate. Yeah, so you had fully gotten into the party scene. This is not an uncommon story for a lot of our folks. So when we get that sweet freedom that comes by, maybe initially a driver's license, we've all tasted that sweet freedom, and then moving right into your college years. So you get kicked out, you go back home, you're working, you're trying to figure out what's going on, and you dipped your toes in the water of a certain field that you really seemed to like. And
thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, our neighbor, the Maxims, Chris, the dad there, he was like, "Hey, Jesse, I'm the boss at a pharmacy. While you're figuring out what you're going to do with your life, why don't you come do that? The University of Michigan has good benefits. They have good, decent pay. You don't have to have a certification for anything." And then, so I worked as a pharmacy technician. I actually lasted about 13 years. I was a farm tech. Wow. They really worked because my friend's dad was the boss. They let me have a lot of leeway because when I was going to school after I flunked out, they really worked with me on my schedule, so I could work Saturdays or I could work just mornings and then go to class, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you really enjoyed that. You enjoyed that work, and that'll come back up a little further down the road here. But this opportunity to work as a farm tech like that. Mm-hmm. So let's move forward to a big date that you recall pretty well. It was Friday, October 7th, 2005. Yeah. Can you kind of walk us through why Friday, October 7th, 2005 is a big deal and set the stage for us?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a Friday night.
Friday night.
Like many other Friday nights for me. I was hanging out with my awesome friends. Paul and Andy. Kyle was probably there. He was always around. I think Zach was there.
Yeah.
Anyways, got off track. But yeah, we were just hanging out in my parents' basement, playing pool, playing darts. It was a cool hangout because he had just finished off his basement. You know, it's got a bigger TV, pool table. It's got everything. We were down there, you know, having drinks. It was all on the up and up as far as age and stuff. My parents wouldn't stand for me drinking underage if they knew about it. Yeah. But
if they knew about it, I like that. That's parents. Sometimes that's true, right? We don't need to. Less is more. Less is more.
But yeah, we were hanging out down there just like any other weekend, and we were gonna go. We got the idea to go to my buddy's house because one thing we didn't do at my parents' house is we didn't smoke anything at my parents' house except cigarettes out in the yard. But yeah, we were gonna go to my buddy Andy's house to smoke, and we were driving there, and there's this road in Dexter called Huron River Drive, and the river's very winding, right? Yeah,
It's a good visual. Yes.
Yeah, rivers are very winding. It's a winding road, 35 miles an hour, and somewhere I don't know what happened. I went off the road. I hit a tree. Yeah. I guess I was insinuating that we were partying. I didn't say it. Jen told me to say it. So yeah, we were partying, and I was not sober. But yeah, I hit a tree. I personally don't understand why I hit the tree. I think I must have dropped a cigarette or something, because I was an excellent driver. Yeah. But
So, in just to paint the scene a little bit, because this is one of those stories that I've heard a few times. So, where you went off of the road, it was quite a ways, like down, what almost sounds like down a big ditch or like a ravine kind of thing.
Yeah, it was
into
probably
this
like
tree.
8 feet, because it was like not by the river, but it was like next to
like
some
river
railroad
flats,
tracks.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was down, so it kind of made a little, got some sweet air probably.
Yeah.
I shouldn't joke about that really though.
No. Well, so you don't have recollection from any of it. Like you just know you were on here on River Drive, doing your thing, and then next thing you're going to wake up in a hospital here at some point.
Yeah.
But before we go there, you were told that you were ejected from the vehicle. You were told, is that correct?
Yeah,
but you don't have.
Yeah, they said I was ejected with 75 feet or whatever, and I don't believe it. I think I just crawled out of the car.
Sure.
Yeah, this is a little bit embarrassing but hilarious. My pants were around my ankles. That's why I don't believe it, because I had a couple Heinekens in my pocket that were dragging on the ground. I think they would just...
They brought your pants down for you.
Yeah, I can't. If I just flew out, they wouldn't fall off.
Sure. Yeah. No doubt. I mean, it's true. It's interesting what the things from the story. So let's talk about you wake up in the hospital after how long?
I think it was 2 weeks. What was it?
Was it every bit of 2 weeks? Yeah. And so you were in a 2-week coma.
Yeah. Well, I think they put me in a coma because I had a traumatic brain injury. Yeah. Right here and right there. Yeah. And they had to drill a little hole in my head there and had a tube for the cerebrospinal fluid to allow my brain to swell without putting pressure on it. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I was in a coma for 2 weeks, and I woke up and I was in the hospital at U of M. I think the 6th floor. Is that right? Sounds.
You were up high. You
had
a view.
Yeah.
A little bit of a view.
I had a room with a view.
Yeah.
But
would you talk just quickly here a little bit? I shouldn't say quickly. Take your time. Will you list your injuries? So obviously brain injury, traumatic brain injury, but what else too? Because I mean, you took some damage in this.
I broke my pelvis, ruptured my spleen, had multiple ribs. Okay. I was pretty beat up.
Yeah.
I think that's all I remember at this moment.
Yeah. So pretty early on, rehab, recovery, all that begins, right? And
yeah,
there's a lot of interesting things with that. Your parents are the ones there. They're explaining to you why you're in the hospital, all of that going on. There's a lot there I know to kind of talk about, but maybe you can hit a few highlights of what you remember from recovery and rehab beginning.
I remember when I was in the hospital, I'd be in therapy. I think I was pretty grumpy when I first woke up. I was mad at everyone. I didn't know why I was there.
Are you a bad patient? Is that why you were grumpy? Didn't like people checking on you? Is he a bad patient, mom or dad? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And that'll come up even more. You're a good caregiver. But yeah, so.
I may talk a little slow right now, though.
That's okay. Go for it. Yeah.
Get a little bit weepy.
Absolutely.
But,
yeah, whatever you'd like to share about this. I mean.
Yeah, I'd be in therapy, and really, I don't think I knew really at the time why I was there doing it. I was just a guy sitting at a table or in a room trying to stand up, moving things. I was just there. It wasn't like I was in rehab to get better and I had a purpose and stuff. I was just there doing what they told me to do. And I didn't even think to question it or wonder why I was there. And I was mad. I didn't want to be there, but I was just there. It didn't really hit me until I don't know when it started. Was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Every day for a while.
Yeah, probably had to tell the same story to me every day.
Yeah, Mom said that every day for a long time. And kind of almost like a Groundhog Day situation where every day you're learning, and probably as your brain is healing and you're starting to, more form the picture of what is going on. And this is rehab, this is therapy, so that I can work back. Yeah.
I have OT-PT speech in the morning, then I have OT-PT speech in the night.
Yeah.
And afternoon probably. I don't think they do it late night at the hospital.
So, so this is kind of while you're initially in the hospital, you begin all this and they get you really moving. Can you talk a little bit about like what's next after this huge life-changing event? What's that recovery look like? What were the next really year or two like for you? Because I know we discussed this a little bit, and I think that it's for those who've never experienced what this could look like. I mean, it's a full-time job, quite frankly.
Yeah.
You can take your time here. Yeah.
I appreciate the permission.
Yes.
Sorry. It was a lot. I had to, once I was discharged from the hospital, I had to go to a day treatment program, and I did that every day for a year, Monday through Friday. Yeah, from 8 to 5. And for the first, as long as FMLA would cover, my mom was sitting in the waiting room from 8 to 5.
Yes.
While I was in my group therapies, like I'd have 8 or 10 other people in the group therapy with us, and we're learning the skills to be productive citizens again. Like learning what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, doing even basic math and buttoning things. It's weird, but I did that for over a year.
Yeah, and during that time, so again, as long as your mom's FMLA would hold out, you were there every day. And what I know when we talk, that's significant. We don't just brush over that, do we? That you were there right alongside, and that means a lot, right? As we just reflect a little bit on your upbringing too, your mom was there in your really formative little years, and then and still with you here now as a college age adult. And I know that's significant. Thanks, Mom, for doing that. Yeah.
I lost my space right now.
No, I think just anything else that from that, the recovery piece, I know you had to, so at some point there were drivers that would actually drive you because you still weren't driving yet. I mean, this recovery's going to be a while.
Yeah, I had to, when I was in rehab, I eventually got to where, because my mom drove me every day and she hung out. And then once that wasn't happening every day, I had to have insurance paid for a guy or a gal to come pick me up. And they would drive me there, and they always drove so slow because they were retired age people.
Those are tired guys driving you.
Well, I don't know. But, yeah, they just drove slow.
They might be instructed to take it easy on the driving speed for him.
But that was hard. That was hard to get used to, having people take me places and do something.
Correct.
But it got into where I was in a routine every day, and I would get up, go to therapy, come home, and eventually, doing that, they kind of transitioned me back into life. I mean, I'm here now. They transitioned me going back into college, and they helped me in school initially. They helped me like pick out the classes, and then they would help me like not in the classes, but
Yeah, providing some tutoring, some counsel along the way, and
once I
Guiding you.
needed it, yeah.
Yep,
Because
absolutely.
when they got me back into college, it was obviously because of my previous experiences. Still the basic levels of school. So it was all gen ed stuff, and I found, even with my memory being poor now, I was still able to go to class, listen, and retain it long enough to take a test and pass.
Yeah.
So I was still pretty I was smart enough to go to school.
Yeah.
You know.
We'll come back to that here in just a second too. So this is, I hate to just move us too fast past, there's a lot there, right? There's a lot following your accident, just a life-changing event going forward, but kind of the next season of life that comes about, you meet a certain person. Do you want to talk through a little bit of that, and then maybe getting back in the work and school flow along with that? So.
Yeah, I eventually got to working full-time for the University of Michigan again because, like I said earlier, they did me fabulous. They allowed me to go to rehab and get back into working. I actually had a therapist come with me, or I brought stuff to therapy to learn how to do my job again. And they let me come back and work full-time. I went to school full-time. I was doing a lot. And then my cousin was getting married. Jen says that I met her before this, but I don't remember.
No? Okay.
Oh, we met at a bridal shower, I
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. But
So
anyways,
your cousin's wedding?
yeah, my cousin's wedding. I was not in the groom's party or anything. I was just the cousin of the groom, and Jen was the maid of honor. Yeah, she was the. I saw her across the room, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to ask her to dance. I'm going to ask her to dance. I had an awesome pickup line. The toothpicks. No, I don't know. The toothpicks had, like, burny edges on them. And I don't know. I said, hey, these toothpicks are pretty cool. That was the first thing I remember saying to her. And she went, yeah.
Oh, man. That is smooth.
I don't know.
Yep.
But
And somehow it worked.
I don't know.
Yeah. So obviously we know you're married, but so talk just a little bit about that. All of a sudden you guys get married. What's your anniversary? Putting the pressure on you. I wrote it on there though.
No,
you
I
have
know
it on
it.
notes.
I know it.
Okay. Get it.
It's May 3rd,
Yes.
2008.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes, it's Kyle's birthday.
Yeah, I chose that specifically because it was a Saturday. Because we wanted to get married on Saturday, and it was my brother's birthday. So I will never forget our anniversary.
Yes. That's smart, isn't
Now
it?
the year, I mean, it's 2008.
Yeah.
I've known it for 15, 16, however long it's been, 14.
15 years of it, but you've known each other for longer than that. Yeah.
Man.
Couple years beyond that. But yeah, so you guys get married May 3rd, 2008. At some point here, you're doing pharmacy school is what you're thinking because you've loved
I was taking
being a farm
prereqs
tech.
for-
And so what happens with that? Why? Because in case spoiler alert, Jesse's not a pharmacist.
No, I'm not a
Okay,
pharmacist.
we'll get there here in just a moment.
I really
but-
wanted to be.
Yeah. So
but-
what happened with that?
I was taking classes, and I was doing awesome in a lot of my classes. It's just, I took pre-calculus, and I got a B minus, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I took regular calculus. It was French to me. I could not learn it, and I took it 3 times. 3 semesters were put on hold because
Yeah.
I wanted to pass this class, and I just couldn't understand it. I still can't. Hey, Devin, are you
Yeah.
here?
Wherever Devin is, he could square
Could
you
you
away,
tutor me?
couldn't he? Yes.
What?
So what? in the,
See afterwards.
yeah, no,
I
Miss Hughes,
know.
There's,
I knew
there's
that
enough
already,
people in the
too.
medical world in this
I knew
room that
that.
are like, we feel this deeply, maybe, or they just got it.
It's just to cut the weeds out. That's all.
Yeah. So what precipitates a change then? Because we're going to get there here in just a minute to what you do now for a living and what you finished school with. But what caused a change then? Besides calculus,
Yeah,
there was
as-
another opportunity.
As you guys all know, Jen works for the YMCA, right?
Yep.
She worked at the Ann Arbor YMCA, and there was I don't know, was Carly a coworker or was she? Yeah, call her coworker, and she was in OT school at Eastern Michigan, where I got kicked out of, and and she says, "Hey, you should be an OT since you're not going to be a pharmacist anymore." And I'm like,
Exactly. What?
"Oh,
Yes. Thank you, Mary.
yeah. Thank you, Mary." OT is occupational therapist or therapy, so that's helping people do things that they need to do that are meaningful to them. But that just threw me off track, though.
No, that's okay.
I appreciate the help, though.
Yes.
Yeah, yep, there you go. Yeah, Carly said, "Hey, you should go do OT school." I'm like, "That's cool, yeah." I really liked my OT, Erin. She was awesome, and I think I could do that. So I got Jen with me on my side there, and we went to Eastern, which I hadn't gotten in yet. Well, yeah, but we got like these rubrics or whatever.
Sure.
That,
But so you have to reapply to Eastern, the
Yeah,
school that
yeah,
said
yeah.
you shouldn't come back.
Yeah.
That's the nice way, but yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, you're
Yeah.
done.
Yep.
And usually it is really difficult if you get kicked out for academics. It's almost impossible to get back into a school,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the same school. That's really challenging.
What was the position that guy held that we talked to at Eastern? Yeah, the ombudsman or something. I had to go to him and I had to send him a letter and beg him and talk to him and see how and he's like, "I don't know if I can help you." And then I kept going, and I kept bothering him. He's like, "Fine, maybe I'll help you."
Yeah,
That might be a little bit glamorized,
it's okay.
but the end result is I got back into Eastern Michigan University, which was not easy. I was very persistent about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so eventually you're back in Eastern. I'm just going to move us a
Yeah.
tiny bit forward because we're getting there on
You're a
time.
little
But
bit late, yeah.
that's okay. That's okay. It's good. So you're back into OT school. There is one more piece here, because you have two daughters. And the firstborn kind of came out of maybe an extra reason, like, hey, we should have kiddos. So let's hit that real quick before we begin to put an end towards this. So.
Well, I was having some pain when I was getting dressed in the morning. Is that right, Jen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was having hip pain.
Again, you have a pelvis that was broken during the accident, so
Yeah.
so they had to
Yep.
put some metal in you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had to put some metal in me. So I was stepping into my pants and stuff. My hip would hurt. So Jen's like, "Go get checked out." And I was like, "Nah." But then I finally went and got checked out because I needed to. But once I did, there was a little bit of a cyst there. They had to do a surgery on me. And
Yes,
there it is.
there
That's
was.
what I was trying to get
They
to.
had. There was a possibility of this being cancer, and boy, given the fact that you had been in a lightning strike, and come through that, been in a serious accident with brain trauma, and now a cancer scare.
Yeah.
There was some thought
Yeah.
for the Nicodemuses
Maybe
to
we should
maybe we should have a kid.
do something like this.
So you guys do have a kid, and you have an Eleanor in 2010.
Yeah, she's
right? I'm
probably
doing
trying
a
to hide
quick
under a rock
mental
right
math.
now.
And then in 2014, right? 14?
Yep,
14.
yep.
You are in graduate school for occupational therapy, and you have a
Yep.
second child. You have little Dorothy.
Yep.
And eventually you do graduate from OT school. And
that was pretty good,
You've been
yeah.
working as an
Cool.
occupational therapist since right around that same time, 2014. Did you get right into a job right away?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I got a job at my first successful fieldwork placement. I got a job. So they liked me enough that they let me come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah. Pete hook you up with the water. So as we think of a few final questions, this has been a good story for us to get a better understanding of just all the things you've lived through. Goodness, there's been quite a bit. And now you find yourself in a job where you work with people that are experiencing a lot of what you have experienced in your life. And so my question to you, as you think about we can call it your profession, but I would, not to make it too churchy sounding, but your calling upon your life, a vocation. What is it why occupational therapy? Why OT? What is it about this job that you like the most? What do you find fulfilling in that job?
If we're being honest, I just like to make people do things that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
But no, in seriousness, I like to help people do things that they need to do to live independently.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I mean, I think that's kind of humorous, but it's true because you've lived where I'm sure every day was not glamorous. You know, we blew by the years of recovery and rehab for you, but like there's a lot of days where someone had to push you to do all the things you probably didn't want to do. Yeah. And even mom and dad were there to help see some of that and help push you as well. Yeah. No, I think that's a pretty amazing thing that you get to speak with a level of expertise because you've done the schooling and the experience. And those are the two things that we all can value, that when people get to know a little bit of your story, you get to share tiny bits, I'm sure, as you're working with them in therapy, how impactful that is. Yeah.
I think I have a little bit better of a understanding of what people are going through when I'm working with them. Like if they don't want to do something or they don't want to participate, I think I can persuade them more so than others.
Yeah, you could point out serious limitations if they don't do these things.
I mean, I haven't been in their shoes exactly, but I've been in shoes.
Yep, similar shoes, no doubt. And then, so another question too, because we are sitting here on a Sunday morning, and I know that being part of a church family is important to you. I just am curious, in your 41 years that we shared that one up. You're not 42 yet. Don't bring that on yet. But you're 41 years. How have you experienced God's love and care in your life? I think we all can get a picture of that from your story. But how have you experienced that, or what would you have to say about that?
I'm still here.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't know. I just think that I just feel like that, like, seems like I always got myself into situations that were not as clean and pure and right as much as like I should have. And it always seems that like no matter how far off track I go, it just kind of seems like I get pulled back on track by something. I think it's probably God, but he keeps pulling me right back in line. I'm starting to learn and not get off track as much, but
yeah. I think that's what we all can recognize, that sometimes it's easier, and this is why I like Story Sunday, because it's easier to see that in other people's lives. And it's also easier to see where God has brought you to this point, that God is faithful and pursues us, even when we may not be always pursuing God.
You chose the music today, and it was pretty good.
I did choose the music today with some intention there. Do you like that?
Yeah, I just got it.
And then last question here, Jesse, as we wrap up. Thanks for sharing through some challenging things. What do you think you have what would you like people's takeaway to be from your story? Do you have anything in mind there? Yeah.
Just do what you need to do. Don't do the things that are not good.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't have a very succinct or nice way to say it.
That's okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have to put the end on your story, but I just want to share how much I've appreciated that Jesse is an open book. Many of you that know him, he's just who he is.
This might be the third time we've heard these stories.
Yeah, it could be. He may tell you these same stories next week too, just not up here, but he'll repeat himself a little bit. In that honesty and authenticity, those are things that I know we all value here, and I certainly value. So I'm grateful to be this dude's friend, And I'm grateful that he is a member of our church, and I know that you are too. It's good to have him with us. So thanks for sharing, man. Any last words before we'll sign off?
Yeah, thanks for guiding me through there without getting off track so much.
Yes, no, you did good.
Yeah.
You did good. Hey, I'm going to invite us all to stand. We're going to just pray together and dismiss to a little First Sunday fellowship. Again, thanks for being here as always. Thanks for hearing the story. Now you can go up and ask for more details from Jesse on some of those bits from his life. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, we are thankful that you are, as Jesse's